So that's a glimpse at transportation going forward. In terms of housing, the city built a lot of housing since 1974. We, in the 70s, had been benefiting from great programs from the provincial and federal government to create affordable housing. We had an enormous amount of co-op housing, social housing, rental housing built through in the decades leading into the 70s, but in the 70s that started to dry up. So unfortunately, we've seen several decades with not enough investment going into affordable housing, rental housing in particular, and we are now in a crisis. At the same time, the city gets more livable, people come from all over the world, and the pressure just increases. I don't think anyone anticipated how dramatically that pressure could increase. The price of housing is unthinkable from 38 years ago now, and the unfortunate decline in the quantity of affordable housing is really hurting us as a city. We built lots of housing since 1974, no question about that, and primarily condos, much needed density in the downtown, and that will eventually be a good supply of affordable housing. But for time being, we need to ensure in the next few decades that the balance is swinging to affordability, and we're making sure that the city moves beyond the precipice that we're on right now and the crisis of affordability. Yes, we could just leave it alone. We could let Vancouver become an exclusive resort city where only the wealthy can afford a place to live. I don't think that's the kind of Vancouver any of us desire to be part of, and I think the mix of people has been key to our success to date. So we need to work together to do better. We need to make sure that we have a mixed income city, that we have a city with its workers, those who grow up here, go to school here, have the opportunity to create business opportunities as well. So this is all about making sure that we have more density, more affordable housing, that we tie it to our transportation goals, make it handy to transit, and make sure that it fits with the neighborhood character, because we are a city of great neighborhoods. That means that we need to embrace new forms of affordable housing in the city. We had a set of great recommendations from our task force on affordability, and very thankful to have Alan be part of that team. And I'm sure there are others in the room who contributed their wisdom and ideas to that process. One of the key pieces was about having more forms of housing. We in Vancouver have lacked the kind of forms that many other cities have. Townhouses, mid-rise townhouses, row houses, apartments. That kind of density is needed in Vancouver. We have to fill the gap between the glass towers and the Vancouver specials. And that's work that we can focus around our transit and neighborhood centers and make sure, again, that we fit the distinct character of many of our different neighborhoods. So that's work that needs to proceed. Today's action going forward to 2050 is that we look at the work in the Cambie corridor, the density that we're adding there. We look at the opportunity to try out all these new forms of housing in neighborhoods where it makes sense, and really implementing those targeted ideas from the Affordability Task Force, filling the gaps where the housing market is falling short, making sure we have small, affordable options for seniors in particular with the aging population, and housing options for young people, young families who want to build their lives and careers here in Vancouver. We have to create those housing options. Right now, we have a Rental 100 program rolling out that's boosted the amount of rental being built. We had many years of being 100, 150 units a year, which is incredibly low. We're now averaging over 500 units of rental being built a year for several years now. That's an important piece when over half of the city rents. We've focused on the homelessness and the low-income side of the equation. We've had a good partnership with the province, Minister Coleman and the Premier, on getting our social housing and supportive housing back up to the levels that are required over these next couple of years. We've got to keep that going. We've got to make sure people on the most vulnerable end of the spectrum have housing options in Vancouver as well. Whether they're at Dunbar and 16th or they're at Union and Main, we need to create those opportunities as well. Really, it's not just a social issue. This is fundamentally an economic issue as well for Vancouver. I hear from many businesses, many companies that are looking at locating in Vancouver. Affordable housing is an issue. It's a challenge for them. That's something that we've got to address and make sure our city is competitive and that the kind of innovation that's behind our high-quality jobs are also happening in our housing market. So affordable housing will be an urgent, pressing business need for Vancouver for years into the future. And in terms of the economy of our city, casting back again to the 70s, Vancouver's economy has completely transformed. We are a city that was built on resources. For most of our first century, it was about resources, creating the opportunities here in Vancouver. Since the 70s, we saw very few technology jobs at that point. We've seen a massive shift, and we've seen brain power become the predominant source of job growth in Vancouver. We have approaching 100,000 jobs in technology now in Vancouver. That's more than forestry, mining, and oil and gas combined. We have a film and TV industry that didn't exist a couple decades ago, is more than $1 billion in activity a year. We have incredible industries growing in biotech and ICT. We're seeing tourism continue to be a huge driver and certainly spurred on by our Olympics. And at the core of it, building the city remains a huge industry, and the work that many of you do in development, in design and architecture, in construction has been fundamental to building the kind of city we need. And as we innovate and model the city of the future, those opportunities will exist in other cities, exporting the innovation and the talent that we grow here at home in construction and design. So that's a great strength of our economy here in Vancouver, and it has changed dramatically since the 70s. 2050, I think we just see this continue to diversify as a successful economy. We're going to see technology jobs and bright people from around the world continue to come to Vancouver to do their best work. We are a city of entrepreneurs, and I think we'll see that continue to flourish as investors around the world see the potency of entrepreneurs in Vancouver. We'll see more capital come and invest in our great ideas and entrepreneurs. So we have amazing talent that we need to continue to support and enable to succeed, to keep building the economy of our city and diversifying it for strength. We will undoubtedly continue to be, by virtue of geography, Canada's Pacific Rim hub. We will probably continue to be the most Asian city outside of Asia, and those are enormous advantages culturally and economically that we have to continue to work towards exploiting. We are a top-tier magnet for investment now, and entrepreneurs are going global to bring that investment back to Vancouver. That's work that I continue to do as the mayor, being out in cities from London to San Francisco to Shanghai to reach out and attract a business partnership and investment to Vancouver, work that we need to do collectively to be aggressive, to be proud of our city, and to attract jobs and investment here, because we have a great thing going. When we look at next steps from here forward, it's beyond that. We have an economic action plan, as Chris mentioned. We have the first one in decades for Vancouver. We're seeing companies like Sony ImageWorks, MPC, Prime Focus, Image Engine, and the digital media space doubling their jobs over this past year. We're seeing an incredible movement of activity in digital media and clean tech, and that's a good thing. The green economy is booming, and Vancouver is so well positioned to capitalize on this. That's a great advantage that we have. We continue to work to service business, to really support business at City Hall. I think it's historically been a bit of an afterthought, and the work at the city now is to be customer service driven, to make sure we're doing what we can to support business and entrepreneurs in Vancouver as a city. That'll continue to be a thrust for us. Just to conclude, we need to set the bar high for 2050 in Vancouver. We are the most livable city in the world. We're in striking distance for being the most green city in the world. Those are connected goals. We have our challenges, there's no doubt about that. The rest of the world is facing those challenges as well. The solutions that we achieve for homelessness and affordable housing, the great design and planning that we continue to do as a city, those are opportunities that we can share with the world. The successes and solutions that we have on clean transportation, on clean technology, energy efficiency, those are products and services that we can compete in a booming global marketplace to make our city more successful. And the solutions that we find in managing growth and change while maintaining the livability, the great communities that we have here. Those are practices that will take root in many cities around the world. So these are decisions that we make today. These are decisions that we work and collaborate towards that have huge relevance and importance around the world. They shape who our city is and how great our city is to live in today, and they will make a big difference throughout the world as other cities develop as well. I will predict that we face these challenges squarely, we embrace these challenges, we use our best and brightest and apply ourselves to doing more of the good work that we're doing here. We will continue to lead the world. We will continue to draw on the knowledge and the energy and the ingenuity of people like you in this room. We will continue to be a great city in 2050 and beyond, and to fulfill our responsibility to support cities around the world in their growth through the next 40 years. So thanks for the opportunity to speak. I look forward to your questions and comments. Thanks, everyone.